Not entirely certain what happened to the slow-moving vehicle sign, but I know it was not me. By the way, if you didn't notice, we unhooked the vertical till the other day. It now sits in a long line of earth-moving equipment. The disc ripper is all that remains, and for good reason. I always thought that these 946-yard tractors were very big, and don't get me wrong, they are large tractors, but they pale in comparison to this beast of a 9620R. It barely even fits in the barn with the ripper on it. It's just massive. Personally, I'm ready to have this thing out of here for good and unhooked because it's so cumbersome. Although we did offer some of our storage space to neighbors who suffered from tornado damage, I doubt any of them take us up on that offer because typically people don't do that. Even though they appreciate your help, a lot of times they're very self-sufficient. We do have a little bit of extra space, but not enough space for this combo right here. The last few times that we took this tractor out when it was relatively cold, we learned that it needs to warm up quite a bit, more than just having your engine temperature up. I believe the hydraulics also have to get warm because it wasn't fully releasing the park brake. So we may have to let it run for 15 minutes or so to not get that error code. This far into the project and I haven't even mentioned what we're starting on. No, we're not putting this away for good. We're making one last attempt to work in some combine ruts and then we're gonna call it quits. I'm sure many of you will recall last time we tried to work some frozen ground, we had a few hiccups, so to speak. So we're doing a little bit of a pre-flight inspection here. Make sure that the ripper is in operating conditions, tires, discs, everything under the sun. That way tomorrow morning we can work some ground without problems. Optical illusion. Probably be good enough. That is slightly concerning because that is what caused our major issue last time. That disc gang was frozen. And I'm afraid we're gonna have the same problem, but we did power wash it out. I think we'll be good. Now we'll double check it to be sure. Yep. Rather be safe than sorry. The only thing I'd rather be than safe is lucky. Yep. Looks solid. I'll see you guys in the morning, assuming it's frozen. It just occurred to me that this video and the previous video are essentially the same exact order of events with just two different tasks. One is cleaning up and one is cleaning up or destroying, depending on how you want to classify disc ripping in the middle of December. Give her a little bit to work out the kinks. Let's get this big girl warm. Effortless start. Get it to about 1,300 RPMs. Let it sit here, warm up. I'm gonna go get in the truck. Who let the disc ripper get so dirty? Surely that wasn't me who did that. The hydraulics, just like me, are a little bit slower when it's cold. Time to hit the road. Just a few short weeks ago, we were out here doing this same type of deal, albeit much earlier in the morning than I'm starting today, out on this farm. Now we're not doing anything of that magnitude where we're going, but we will be right down the road. That field was just our standard fall tillage. This field is damage control. This tractor has never crossed this bridge, which gives me a little bit of anxiety, if I'm being honest. type of damage are we talking about specifically? Well, that's pretty easy to guess. Combine damage. Some big old ruts out here in these fields that we really need to get worked down before spring. Well, we do have a major problem already, and it's that it didn't hardly freeze enough to be doing this. When you have a rut, that ice is over the top of the puddle, underneath stays wet and muddy. And that's what we're dealing with here. But at least our disc gangs are turning. What a mess. Not sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but I'm gonna get out and look the situation over. Oh geez. Tracking very bad behind the tractor. Don't need to explain to you that I'm pulling ruts just going through the top of the ground. Definitely did not get cold enough last night. The ruts don't help. All I'm doing is making a muddy situation muddier. This time of year, I don't know if the cure is worse than the disease. We can do irreparable damage that even a couple months of cold weather won't fix, and we very well may find that out come harvest time next year, but it's not looking good. Oh man, that is just not good. That looks terrible. Oh, and I plugged a rolling basket. I don't know, folks. This may be short-lived. I'm gonna give it another couple rounds, and if it doesn't get any better, just gonna quit. To reference the main problem here, we've got a firm, crusty ridge, but then you crack through the ice, and it's mud underneath. Oh no, my boots are not waterproof. That was stupid. It very well may be time to quit farming for the year. Although I think once it hits December, it's time. Calling an audible here. The rolling basket's coming out of the ground. It's not gonna help us at this point. I haven't been this disappointed since that brand new 780 blew that hydraulic pump. All I probably did was make this entire situation worse out here for next spring. I think we're just gonna have to call it quits out here for the year.
Okay, we're back.
All right, see ya. Very eventful and uneventful morning at the same time. Well, I don't know what to say. Thank you all for joining me for 20 minutes of tillage. Oh, frustrating year. The wash bay guy is really going to appreciate all that I've just added to this ripper. There's really nothing we could have done differently. It was not cold enough last night, even though it was in the low 20s. I came out at the coldest part right at sunrise, so it would not have been any more firm during the night. That being said, I do know what some of you are thinking. We could have just not made the ruts in the first place harvesting. And yeah, I get that on principle it makes sense. We could have waited for a frost or a hard freeze to go pick this corn, but see how many hard freezes we had out here? It's December, almost the end of December, and I'm struggling to work this ground because it's not cold enough. I know of a few farmers who made that choice. Let's wait for a frost, get this stuff out then. They still have thousands of acres of corn to go. Not harassing them or hounding them for their decision making. It is just kind of a coin flip what's gonna happen, but we got it out. We had high yielding corn. We didn't want it to go down. The entire purpose of this trip was to work in all of the ruts, the worst areas of the field. The rest of it we were just gonna let overwinter as it was. A little bit of it got vertical tilled, but for the most part, it's unworked. That's not a big deal, but those ruts are gonna present a major hurdle for us this spring, unless of course it's bone dry. In a perfect world, we would have been done harvesting our crop by the end of October, and we would have been in Florida for 3 months by now. Unfortunately, vacations are above my pay grade. Headed home, defeated, dirty, and demoralized. Fall 2021, you haven't been fun, but it's definitely time to quit farming. Figured I might as well park at the wash bay. At least I can sleep peacefully tonight knowing that I did more damage before 8 o'clock this morning than I have for the last 2 months. Now, if that's not productivity, I don't know what is. Since I've now given up on all of our tillage efforts, I wouldn't mind if it rained to clean this thing off a little bit. It could use it. The real downside of it not freezing enough for me to work is now I gotta go do another round of tornado cleanup. I'm pleased to report that the backhoe did not have any flat tires this morning. Count that as a victory and balance it out with a loss because the heater still does not work. If anyone's in the market for a rustic barn door, I've got one on sale right now. You will have to assemble it. It was disassembled in transport. It's only about a half-mile away from where it came from. Just another one of the hundreds of bucket loads that we have and will pick up in this field. One farmstead caused this much work for us to pick up, which is not really that much in the grand scheme of things, but these towns in Kentucky that got hit dead on, it's really saddening to think about how much stuff is probably dispersed. Just the cleanup alone is going to take years. We've got quite the crew working this morning. Dad, of course. Wes from our Pioneer dealership's helping out. It's nice of him. Katie's over there with her arm in a sling. She's partially incapacitated from a shoulder surgery. Then way off yonder is Chris. The mud is a pretty good sign that it's quitting time. Got a lot accomplished, but we still have a lot to go. Not only did our neighbors help us today, they've also been continuously letting us store the backhoe at their farm. That way we don't have to drive it all the way home every day. As frustrating as the tail end of this year has been for us, I think we still have a lot to be thankful for on our farm. In the grand scheme of things, the challenges presented this fall are easily offset by how easy this spring was for us. We may not have won every single battle, but I think overall we did win the war here on our farm this year. We had great crops, great prices, and great health amongst our family, and I don't think you can really ask for much more than that. The ground not getting worked, I mean, we can worry about that later. We're not going to lose any sleep over that. Our operation and many other farms in the area did end up getting the largest majority of our nitrogen and other dry fertilizers onto our fields. That not being completed could have been a very large financial blunder for us. Given the unpredictable and often humbling ways of Mother Nature and trying to work with her here on the farm, we always do our best to keep our heads high and lead with our best foot forward. Going into next season, I have high hopes, high expectations, high yields, more efficiency, less downtime, everything you could want on a farm. And of course, I do really appreciate all of you continuing to support the channel the way that you have. A lot of the unfortunate events for us have been great content for you, so it's kind of a yin and a yang that comes with this venture. I really appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you all have a great holiday season. Take it easy. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. I wish the happiest of holidays to you and all of your family members. Peace!